So we have studied actually the layout design of the part of inverter, or also with NMOS and PMOS. So all these things we have learned. We also learn one important thing, that stick diagram. This one looks like this one, and PMOS looks like this one with some boundary. The boundary signifies its end well. Okay, we also learn about the simulation, various kinds of simulation, AC, DC, transient, and maybe periodic simulations, and also the Monte Carlo simulation also we studied, and we also understand the concept of PVT, so process voltage and temperature variation. And yeah, we also learn that when you are going to submit the design to the foundry, it's going to be actually the layout, and that layout has to be checked with the schematic whether it's same or not. So it's called layout versus schematic. So LVS is there. So we studied all these things. Now let's come to the real business, where there is an inverter. Okay. Just for okay, somebody can confirm me, like do you know about inverter, CMOS inverter? Have you studied or not ever?
Yes, sir.
MTech CSP,
No, sir.
communication MTech,
Yes,
MTech
sir.
CSP.
So basic
If know that,
functioning, sir.
Yes, sir.
okay. Basic functioning means only this one, or inside this CMOS inverter, how it works and all.
Sir, with the two MOS devices, sir.
Okay, so you know about it. Okay. So, okay. So in that case, I'll quickly go through it. So generally what is happening, let's assume that there are two kinds of switches. One is like this and one is like this. So this switch, this one, which is at the left side, it works as follows. When the input available at this point, if it is logic 1, digital logic 1, then whatever is available here, that will transfer to here. But to operate this one, we need the logic 0, which will make this switch on, and whatever is available here, that will go that side. During the time when it's transferring, the resistance seen in this switch will be as low as possible. And during the off state, when it means, I mean to say that when there is logic 0 I'm applying here, and logic 1 I'm applying here on this switch, in both the conditions, both the switches are off. During that time, I'm expecting that it's a high impedance state, or it's not allowing whatever is available here to this side. So I have following things to do. If it is an inverter, if I am applying a digital logic 1, I'm expecting to see the output 0. And if I'm applying 0, I'm expecting to see output as logic 1. Note that logic 1 and logic 0 are depending on what value of positive supply and negative supply you are giving. By the way, positive supply will be referring as a digital logic 1, and minus V supply will be referred as digital logic 0. Now, if I want to create such kind of things, what I'm doing, let's assume that whenever I want to apply such kind of switches, I'm keeping two switches over here. One has A, B, and let's call this one as some input. And from here, I'm taking the output. So if I want to write down that how the functionality of this particular circuit will be, so output is equal to A when input is equal to 0. Look at this. If it is 0 logic, this will be shorted and output is equal to A. Whereas in other situation, when digital logic 1 is given to this circuit, output is equal to B when input is equal to digital logic 1. So right now I have kept any value of things like A, B can be digital logic 1, digital logic 0. But let's assume that they are not that one, but they are plus V supply and minus V supply. So what does it mean? If this is digital logic 1 and this is digital logic 0, if I am applying input as 0, the output is equal to plus V supply, or you can say that digital logic 1. And similarly, this is 0. Similar functionality is there when you are using the PMOS. So you can use any one of the symbol. Okay. Either of the symbols you can use. Here I made a mistake. Yeah. So this side is NMOS and this side is PMOS. So PMOS is the one through which you can make the switch which is working on the inverted logic, whereas you can create a switch which is working on the logic 1. Okay, so you can replace the whole thing with 2 transistors. Look like this one. Let's assume that I'm keeping here VDD. I'm keeping this one here as 0 and I'm connecting here as follows. Input and output. In general, this is known as the CMOS inverter. By the way, those who have known to this fact that CMOS inverter came into picture very late, maybe at the around in 90s or 85, after 90, I believe that. So it came very late. Before that, the logic was just NMOS logic. So during that time, people were making the inverter not using this technique, but you can see if you are doing this one, still you can create an inverter. If you know the fact that let's call this one as RD. So the gain of this circuit is minus GM RD, by the way, and because of this is also known as inverter circuit, by the way. And various loads you can make, like instead of resistance, you can keep you can keep other kinds of load like current as a load. I should not draw this one. When NMOS was there, current as load or resistive load, there are many things you can do. And this is known as the NMOS technology. And other technologies were also there, but we are not going into that. But the main purpose of this course is we are dealing with the CMOS circuits. And in CMOS, this is the way to design an inverter. Good part of this one is you can have the very good noise margin. We'll talk about this maybe if you don't understand noise margin, high noise margin, low. Okay, just for information from BTech Electrical. Have you studied following things? If I'm writing, if you don't understand, just let me know. Do you understand all of this? BTech Electrical.
No, sir.
No, okay. How many things you have heard about it?
Sir,
NMH? Okay.
No, sir.
No. Okay, TPHL. We talked
Yes, sir.
a bit. Okay. Setup time,
Yes.
hold time.
Yes, sir.
Setup time, hold time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Clock skew, delay. This you heard about it, right? Okay. So accordingly, I'll follow then. Okay. I'll assume that you people don't know anything. Okay. So I'll define it wherever it's required. Anyway, so this is a CMOS inverter, and this CMOS inverter has all these. Generally, when we are talking about the noise margin high or noise margin low, we have to understand the fact that how we are defining the logic 1 and logic 0. So logic 1 and logic 0. How to define it? You cannot randomly choose that, okay, Vs here 0 volt is equal to 0. VDD, let's assume that it's 5 volt, 5 equal to digital logic 1. But what if it is 4.5 volt? Are you going to consider that one as 1 or 0 or something else or high impedance case? So actually there is a range of voltage which is actually defining the fact that it's a logic 1. So there is actually some margin you have which you define it as a logic 1, and through which you can define the noise margin high or noise margin low. Noise margin high is referring to the digital logic 1, and noise margin low is similar to noise margin high, but it's the reverse of what we have talked about digital logic 1. So it's logic 0. So not only some part of voltage which is going to be considered as a digital logic 1 or digital logic 0, and there will be some part where it's undefined, or you cannot say that it's digital logic 1 or 0. Okay, so you should not be in this particular region. If you are there, our circuit cannot define that whether it's logic 1 or logic 0, and that's how you are defining NMH and NML. So this is noise margin level high from here to here. This point to this point is known as noise margin high, and other side is noise margin low. In detail things we are going to talk in the chapter when it's CMOS inverter will start, but this will be enough for you to start with. Okay, so in that case, this is the CMOS inverter. One more thing you must be knowing that all the NMOS circuit has 4 terminals. You know that gate, drain, source you are connecting somewhere, but body or substrate or bulk should be connected to ground only, and PMOS has to be connected to VDD. By the way, some people writes this one also. I'll make it with different color. Ground bang, VDD bang. The meaning of this one is it's globally connected. This the meaning is global connection. What I mean for global connection is as follows. Let's assume that I'm making a circuit which has circuit looks like this one. So inside this, almost like around 4 transistors are there. Inside this, another 4 transistors are there. So in all 8 transistors, when I'm making this one as like if this is PMOS, and if I connect this one to VDD bang, means on the hierarchy, you can understand this. If you go inside this, then you will see the circuit which is made up of CMOS. But outside, it's not made up of CMOS, it's a gate. It's a kind of one circuit or a block. If you remember, we already talked about that. So what I mean to say is this one. So if you are at system, if you go inside, there is a module. If you go inside, there is a gate. Inside gate, there is circuit, and circuit will be at the device level. Generally, we don't have this one because we are going to have the mathematical equation for this one. We don't do this one. There are some equations. So the lowest version of your circuit or entire block is a circuit which is made up of transistors. So if you are at gate level, module level, or system level, wherever you are referring VDD, if I connected VDD over here, let's say I'm making one circuit which looks like this one, and if I label this one as VDD, and here I'm connecting this one, I'm saying VDD bang, means it will connect to hierarchically this side directly, or wherever it will find out, it will connect to that VDD. But if I don't keep this one, it is only the local one, means it's only valid for this particular block only. It's not valid for the whole hierarchy. So if you want to make it whole hierarchy, you have to make the bang at the end. Most of the time we are going to keep the bang so that you will not make mistake. Okay. So this is what we are doing over here. PMOS is connected to VDD, means the body of PMOS is connected to VDD and body of NMOS is connected to ground. If you want to understand why this is happening, it's a part of analog circuit designing. Generally, people explain this in analog circuit designing, which is at the higher level, because it involves something called body effect. And if you connect something else, means if VDS, sorry, if VSB is not equal to 0, you are actually touching the threshold voltage. So that's why we don't want to create any problem. That's why we are keeping VSB equal to 0. You can see source and body are tied together to one terminal, which is VDD. Or in the case of NMOS, it's connected to ground. Okay. Generally, this is the theory. Now, let's come back to the place where we were, and I kept this circuit horizontally. Generally, people draw other way around, like the way I drew it here. Where is it? Okay, here. This is the way people draw, but we have drawn actually horizontal so that you can understand how layout looks like, and layout will be easier to draw. So if you remember, if I am drawing the elevated view, it looks like as follows. Note that these diagrams are not with the scale. Okay, that's why it's like NMOS and PMOS has different dimension. So here you can see that gate are connected with each other. And body of this one is connected to ground along with the source. It has to be ground, and similarly, this has to be, okay, sorry, I made a mistake. So both has to be connected to VDD. And this one, as you know, that source and drain are interchangeable, so I am connecting them together. And I am taking new metal so that I can go out, and this is out and this is in. This was the elevated view, but rather than elevated view, the easier or the most important way to draw it is the top view. Okay, so here also the elevated view has been drawn, but if you look at the top view, maybe I can draw this one so that you can understand. So top view, if you remember, NMOS is like this, and drain and source are interchangeable. Middle one, the longer one, is actually gate, and other side, the PMOS looks like this one with outer boundary, because this is indicating the N-well. This is gate. This might be source drain. This might be drain source, drain source, right? Any one of them you can consider. Note that when you are making this, the gate is made up of polysilicon. The material here is polysilicon actually. So you have to extend this polysilicon, any one of the side, whichever you like. So I am extending here the polysilicon, and then I'm taking this and calling it the input. By that, this black color is polysilicon. This will be my input. As you know, drain and source we can tie together, and this is at metal 1 generally. These are the interchangeable thing. I can call both of them as drain, and I can short them together with the metal 1 and call this one as output. Notably, this is connected to one more extra connection of the body, which is actually connected to ground, and this one is connected to VDD. So this is the layout or how your CMOS inverter will look like from the top side. If we are looking with the colors or the way it has been kept, it will be easier for you. So here you can see that this is the input which is connected. Notably, this is ground, so this must be NMOS side, this must be PMOS side. If you get any difficulty in understanding this, maybe like when you are going to make the real layout, then you will understand, because right now it looks like just squares. But you have to understand that this part is NMOS. And this part, along with the boundary, if it is visible to you, this is PMOS. Both the gates are shorted and they are known as the input. Drain source, like drain are shorted and they are known as the output. And respective body is connected to within ground. So that is what happening. And here it's A and A prime. That's a cross-sectional view which is kept here. We call it cross-sectional view or the elevation. So that has been already drawn, and you know how does it look like. So that is how it has been made. We are not going to that. Before like completing the first chapter, which was the introduction of the whole course and some of the fundamental things. So some of the terms and some of the things which are very important in people are those who are in VLSI, they are using it every day. If you remember when we have started, I told you that before coming to output side where the pins are, actually inside there are two important parts. One is core and one is IO pads. IO pads are also known as ESD pads. There is a separate chapter on that. The last chapter of this particular subject is ESD IOs. So we'll talk about that. But these are known as electrostatic discharge. Sometimes unwanted charges are actually lying on those particular pads, and they are creating some extra charge and creating some problem for the core circuit. Sometimes it can change the logic 1 and logic 0. If you remember now, NMH and NML are defined with some particular you can say that range. Let's assume that you know that NML is here. Your signal is earlier was here, which you are defining as logic 0. But after having extra charge, you maybe land up in logic 1 instead of logic 0. So such things happen, and such things needs to be avoided by some ESD pads, which will not have such kind of problems. So that was the part of IO pads. But outside this, there is one more, you can say that one more interface where these are connected to the pins. So pins are outside. The pins which you are seeing in the IC, they are outside, but they are connected with IO pads through some wires which are known as bonding wires. And this whole thing is known as the packaging. After core and IO are designed, packaging is designed by somebody else. Okay. So let's understand that when we are referring the chip word, chip is actually the core plus IO. And you are connecting the outer pins are through some kind of bonding wires, and this is known as chip to substrate because they want to connect to chip to substrate. And before that, there is one more thing which is known as the cavity, which is coming through this connections and other part of the other part of the circuit. Those who are in specifically in communication side or antenna side, they are learning this cavity in detail. As such, this cavity is not part of this course, but right. So those who know about cavity, they know through maybe the antenna study only. Okay. So let's not go to much detail for this, considering the limitation of this course. However, you are interested, you can study the course where cavity is there, which might be the part of MMIC course. It's called uh, microwave integrated circuits, right? So it is there, and it's being taught by Professor Gopi Srikant Reddy. So should cover with that. Okay, so this was the first part. Second might be like you are connecting this die to package to substrate. So as this is the bigger picture, as I have already explained that inside is the core, outside are IO pads, you can call this one as also core, and at where it's actually stacked, that is the substrate, and that substrate is P substrate. So everything is on P substrate of silicon, right? And they are connected from the lead frame from bonding wires. This is another pattern on which, so this is a top view. If you look at the chip in reality, so chip is here somewhere. So if you draw it, chip look like this one. Chip means core plus IO things. So other things are connected like this. So this is lead frame, and these are the bonding wires, and inside there is a chip. So when you are connecting this chip, the whole thing, white part, is actually the substrate. Note that the whole thing, which is white, you can refer this circuit, or sorry, you can refer this diagram where the white part is the P substrate. Same white part is here. Earlier was actually isometric view. This one is the top view. That's why it looks like this one. And when you are connecting this through a film or pattern, so you can see when they are connected through some solder bump. This is the connection. Bump is one sort of connection. Generally, bump is referring for most of the time substrate or the power supply connection. When I'm saying that there is a power supply bump or the substrate bump or the ground bump, it means that I'm connecting these lead wires through some specific process, and I'm connecting to the die. Note that this die is actually like this. So there are many bumps like that surrounding this. Okay, this is not QFN. So okay. If this is DIP package where on the two sides there are connections, so they are actually kept like this. If you look at isometric view, that is what solder bump is, and generally this is made by some pattern. For this one, it's actually polymer film is used to make these connections. Other than that, it's also very popular that I'll show you one of the chip we made where, look, I don't want any kind of package. I like the naked die where entire circuit is here. So it has core plus IO inside this. And it's not a rule that you have to keep IO outside only. What I'm doing, I'm making the circuit, and wherever the output is coming, let's say my output is here after my circuit. So wherever I'm drawing the square box, these are the input and outputs. So my input and output connections are already inside this. And through another circuit directly, I can take them out. So in that, we are doing this kind of bump bonding where I can connect wherever I want. I don't restrict myself to the periphery of the die, but I'm going inside and I'm connecting. Whenever I'm doing this, I need some interconnect layers. Generally, these are the glue or the epoxy glue, so that you can connect both the dies very well. And however, it will create the minimum capacitance, whereas in other case, when you have such kind of things, you can understand that whenever you have a longer wires, it's creating inductive effect. Whenever there are two parallel plates, they are giving the capacitive effects. And of course, wherever there is a path, IR drop is going to be created and the resistance will be there. So in total, the whole die package and connection to your circuit is actually RLC parasitic circuits. So that's not a good thing. So to avoid that, when people are working in the almost in terahertz, they are doing this one so that they don't miss the signal at all. There are a few other things. There are two kinds of ICs. You must have seen one IC like this, which is being used on breadboard, right? Where you can keep these pins inside the breadboard, or you can keep it on PC board and they can go through, and thereafter you can solder it. So that kind of ICs are known as through hole mounting. But there are some of the ICs, if you've seen the FPGA board, or if you open some of the uh, computer chips or computer spare parts, then you must have noticed that there are some of the ICs which are actually on surface, and they have done some sort of machine soldering, and it's actually on the surface only. Look at this. This particular plane is the PCB. So both sides they are connected, but they are not going through the board. It's on the board only, and such kind of ICs or devices are known as surface mounting devices or the SMD devices. So it's a surface mounting device. So such kind of things you must have seen it. Just for your information, some of the ICs I kept it here. So just for your information. So first one is the bare die. So where is the one? Yeah, it's here. So I have drawn long back that like this. So 6 or 8 inch of wafer, where there are lots of ICs are there. They are the bare naked devices which needs to be packaged afterwards. Note that each one of the square is actually one IC, you can say, and it can be cut and it has to be given to the packaging team so that they can package. Okay. So this is the first one. Second one is dual in-line package. So dual in-line package has actually both side pins are there. You must have used many ICs like this till now, where both side things are there. Here you can see, here and here. By the way, this image and other diagrams has been taken from the book which I told already. It's Rabe. Okay. And the title of the book is same as what our title of the course is, Digital MOS LSI Circuits. So that's one we can use. Third one is the PGA, Programmable Gate Array. You must have seen FPGA. Before FPGA, something called PGA, CPLD, all these ICs were there. Other than that, small outline IC is like this. It's small outline. One is the quad flat, where all four sides you have the pins. One is a PLCC, and the many other, like these are the just I have taken from the book just for information that many other kinds of ICs are there. Okay, or the packaging. Maybe other things we can keep it like. Okay, so this is the bumps we are talking about. So all the holes or the circles you are seeing here are actually the connection directly to the next circuit. So rather than having the pins outside, because these will have almost like 1000 IOs. Then in case of 1000 IOs, it's not recommended to have the pins only, right? Rather than that, directly you can take the connections from here. You can directly connecting to the next IC. Okay, so in that case, okay, I should have just asked. So till now, any doubt? Because this was just a technology introduction. That was the chapter number 2 from Rabe book. That's the end of this chapter, because it was technology introduction. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. If
Sir,
no, then yes.
is polysilicon a metal?
No. Metal is different than polysilicon.
So gate is made up of metal, but here,
Okay, I understand your question. Maybe you want to say that when there is an NMOS or PMOS, I'm saying that this is connected to metal, right? And afterwards, I'm saying that this is actually the polysilicon gate, right? You're saying that this polysilicon is same as metal or not, right? This is a question,
yes,
right?
yes, sir.
Okay. So if you are inside the chip, then this is made up of polysilicon. But if you want to take the outside somewhere, outside means outside IC, and you want to make the connection, how can you make the connection? Connections needs the metal. And that's why we have the metal layers, and through metal layers, you are making the contacts and vias. And outside it's metal. And that's how it's a metal oxide semiconductor. Otherwise, it's inside it's polysilicon, and that's not metal. Right?
Sir.
So if you want to make the discrete components, always it's a metal oxide semiconductor. Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so the next topic is stick diagrams and its uses to layout. Generally, this topic is being taught in like very initial study of digital electronics, but this is generally being taught to all computer science engineers, right? I believe, have you studied or not? Stick diagram? Is there anybody who has studied stick diagram other than BTechs of IIT Mandi? I'm asking this. MTech CSP, anybody who has studied stick diagram? Nandit, have you studied stick diagram? Okay, you studied. In which course you have studied? VLSI design. Okay, so you are doing PhD, and I'm saying during your undergraduate, have you studied? Okay. So we have one student who is doing PhD, Nandit. Nandit is actually has done this course where stick diagrams were there, but it was VLSI design. This another name of this course is also VLSI design, right? You can call this course as also VLSI design. If you go outside, some people are teaching this course with a different name called VLSI design, right? So then it's good, right? So we are also learning in this course. Anyway, so most of the things like they are on internet, first of all, but still I found out one book which has some part is given, but I believe that after my lecture you don't need any book. It's very simple. It is having its application in the layout drawing. So let's understand that if you are making the general layout, now the layout is always top view. Okay, so if you look from the top, you can identify that all the transistors are NMOS if there are no boundary. If there are boundary, then they become PMOS or PMOS, right? Otherwise, all devices are actually NMOS. You can see here, both the gates are shorted to each other. Now here, most important part which I wanted to tell you from this particular diagram is some people sometimes they are drawing this kind of transistor, and sometimes they are making this kind of transistor. So both are possible, right? Here this is gate, this is source drain, this is the drain source, this is source drain, this is drain source, and this is gate. So please do not do such kind of things. Use any one of the pattern only, either vertical side or horizontal side. You are not going to make the rotation. Okay, rotation means 180-degree rotations are fine. Okay, but okay, but 360-degree, or I would say the 90-degree are not a good practice, because um, if you understand this thing, in reality, this looks like this one. NMOS something like this. It looks like this one. This is happening because of many reasons. Because one of the reason for this one is it involves a diffusion process, through which it's diffuse and it creates the bird pic view. This is known as the bird pic view, right? Both sides. And this one, you wanted to make a gate. When you wanted to make that, you are each out this particular portion through some photoresist process, right? So when you are doing this, actually the whole thing is coming by the 7 degree of angle. It's not exactly coming the direct one. There is some like this is standard, by the way. Why it is there, I don't know. Okay, you need to ask maybe some VLSI fabrication faculty. They can tell you, but this is a standard which they are following, right? Because of some limitation of the instrument, I believe that. So because of 7 degree, you can see it's tilted one. So in that case, whatever you are looking this side is not exactly equal to this side. Means, although you are considering that drain and source are interchangeable, it's okay, fine, they are interchangeable. But looking at both sides, the parasitics are not equal. Parasitics this side and parasitics this side are not equal. When I'm saying parasitics, they are referring to R, L, and C. For R, you need to see the path. If there is a path, there will be IR drop. If there is a big wire like this, it creates inductor. If there are two dissimilar plates, if you're working at high frequency, there will be some capacitive effect. So all these in total are there at both sides. So unfortunately, when you are doing this for 1225 PVT corners, the output will not be the way you wanted. So that's why it's not recommended that either of the things you can follow, either this way or this way. So keep the transistor the way you want, and thereafter it has to be in same way. It should not be going here and there, like here we have kept, like this one and this one. So all should not be part of this one. Okay. So here you can see that other than that, the gates are actually tied together when you want to make the gate connection, like the case of inverter. So in that case, you can connect this polysilicon line without using the metal. Directly you can connect them. Sometimes it is happening that your drain and drain are connected together like this. Let's assume that this is PMOS and this is NMOS. By the way, name of this particular connection is drain to drain abutment. So if there is drain to drain connection like this, when you are making the connection, you can do as follows. You can directly connect both of them together. Let's call them drain to drain abutment. This will be going to ground and this will be going to VDD, right? And both the gates are shorted to each other and connected as an input. Right? So such things are allowed. There is no need to go to the next level of metal if such connections are required. So accordingly, like I'll tell you wherever it's needed. Okay. So what is the objective of the whole thing, or the title of this chapter? That you are making the stick diagram so that you can make efficient layout. Generally, what happens when you have thousands of transistors, you are making the layout, you get confused what to do. So in that case, it's better to make some sort of layout on paper, maybe with some people make it with the color pencils or color pens, and then making the stick diagram, and then they are making the layout. That makes the life little bit simpler, because this MOS circuits and this layout are connected through a stick diagram. So that has to be made as a, you can say that one draft layout, so that you can have the compact and better layout. When you are making the compact one, of course, it will have lesser parasitic effects. And at the end of the day, VLSI is actually all about very large scale integration. We have to keep everything in a small area. Okay. Some some of the notations are like those who are using the colors. So these colors are again the standard. Otherwise, like, you can use your own color also. I generally, when make the stick diagram, I don't use any color. I use just dotted lines, or maybe the solid line, and then indicating what I want. So they are generally recommending that metal one with blue color and the dotted line. Poly is the